What are some little known relationship green flags? My current boyfriend isn't good at telling me he loves me. He's not good at communicating or picking up cues sometimes because of him being autistic. I've noticed though that there's a lot of little things he does that tell me he cares. I've made a mental list. When we watch a movie, he makes sure the blanket covers my toes and that I'm not cold and that I'm comfy. He doesn't just ignore me while the movie is going, and he's always making sure I'm comfortable and happy. When we go out and I'm pulling off a hoodie, he grabs my t-shirt and holds the hem down to make sure I don't flash everyone when it lifts. It means a lot, and it's a bit funny to me that he's always watching what I'm doing and being careful. He always makes sure to walk me home now, especially after I told him I was grabbed in broad daylight and didn't want to walk home alone at night. With previous exes, they'd have dismissed me and told me to suck it up, or that no way was anyone doing that to me. He listens to me when I say I'm uncomfortable and makes sure to always ask multiple times just to check. He was extremely accepting and reassuring when I told him about being molested and abused when I was younger. He's not overly possessive and he believes in me, which means a lot. I'm bisexual and I've had exes on both sides think badly and assume I'm cheating. He does not. He never does. He doesn't mind that my roommate is another guy and that I make semi-erotic content. He's wonderful. One of my favorite things is that he's great at communicating and working with me on little problems. He likes to listen to my perspective first and my solution, and he always trusts me and what I think. You know right away where you stand with them. For the longest time, every single guy I went out with always made me feel at least a little insecure about their intentions. I just chalked it up to a sort of men are from Mars, women are from Venus type thing. Guys just naturally want to play the field and women naturally want to nail them down. However, I know the story of how my parents got together, and it didn't mesh with that idea at all. So I always had it in the back of my head not to settle for it. When my parents met, my father was quite the player. He, of course, did not tell me this directly, but everyone else has, and he made no effort to hide it in his stories from his youth. They met at an event one night and had just one conversation. He took my, now, mother's number. He called her the next day to set up a date. On the first date, they set up their second date, and it went from there. There was never any question. Eventually, I met the man who would become my husband, and it was exactly the same way. I'm not saying it was love at first sight, or I knew right away he was the one. I'm just saying it was possible, and it did prove to be a good test of intentions and staying power. For me, when I met my now husband, I felt something I never felt before in my life, and I was 43 when I met him. I felt a complete sense of peace, ease, and relaxation in my body and a sense of palpable safety. It was really hard for me to understand that was the love my body needed. It was a work romance, and I've never mixed business and personal, so it was very hard for me to continue the relationship. I had a lot of paranoia about sabotaging my career that I'd worked very hard for. I was a single parent, but every time I thought about breaking up with him, I would feel like I was physically going to vomit. And every time I was with him, my body would feel so good, so calm, that it honestly felt weird, like I couldn't fully recognize it. Thank God I was smart enough to listen to what my body was telling me, and I stayed in the relationship. I finally met the person for me, and I almost didn't recognize the signs, because it was such an unfamiliar feeling. So my advice is, listen to your body. If your stomach feels tight, if you feel like you can't talk, or if you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, red flag. If your body feels relaxed, easy, and you get to be fully who you are, major green flag. I was hanging out with my fiance once when we were teens, and he asked me why women always had to shave their legs if men were never expected to. He was looking at my smooth legs and told me that if I liked shaving them then that was okay, but that if it was a lot of work or too annoying to keep up with then I didn't have to feel like he'd be less attracted to me if I skipped it sometimes. This was when we'd only been together a few months. 8 years later, and I still consider it one of the biggest green flags in our relationship. The other was when I was trying on clothes and asked him if he thought I was fat. He said, a little bit, yeah. but that's okay because fat isn't the opposite of gorgeous, and I'd be the same amount of attracted to you whether you lost weight or stayed how you are now. All I really care about is that you're healthy and remember to feel good about yourself. He's the one. When you find you one like that, don't let them go. My girlfriend will hug me in her sleep, like hard. It'll wake me up. Then I fall back asleep. She never remembers doing it. She doesn't remember anything once she's out. We can have full conversations she won't remember. But then when she wakes up, she invariably will say I had nightmares last night. It means a lot, cause even if we've hit a rough patch or are arguing, she will always do it. It tells me that even subconsciously I make her feel safe. She had a rough upbringing and she doesn't like talking about it much, but I know the fact I make her feel safe is a big thing, so I'm always real happy when she reminds me she still feels that way. She's also really introspective, so I don't bring it up, cause she will ruminate on it, and I don't want her to stop. I'm a very crabby morning person, but when she wakes me up doing that, even with her death grip and morning breath in my face, it's reassurance that we are getting it right, and it makes me really happy. When you like the person that you become when you're with them, everyone projects a different version of themselves around different people, and if you don't like who you become when you're with someone, it's probably not going to be the healthiest relationship. Your SO should bring out the best in you. If it's a chore you both hate, you do it together. My late husband and I both hated folding laundry, but it had to be done, so we always did it together. Made the chore less of a pain. My dad did that with us growing up. Anytime he needed to run errands or do housework he would ask me or my brother to keep him company and talk to him. He said that made it was less about being bored and annoyed by doing chores and more happy hanging out and bonding time with his kids. It was always fun too. He genuinely did like spending time with us and joking around. We were never super close because he was pretty strict, but I always liked that quality time with him. It's a pretty convoluted story, but I was dating a guy, had to drive his car to get him from a situation, and wrecked his car due to mechanical failure, and called my mama to come get me so we could go get him. Rescued him. Then had to tell him I'd wrecked his car. His first question, "Are you okay?" My mom overheard. That one's a keeper. No matter how angry you are at one another, you will still go out of your way or they go out of their way to help. I'll be wicked pissed, but I'll angrily make my wife her favorite dinner, even though I don't want to eat. No matter how angry we are at one another, usually only last a short period of time, we will never sabotage or try to teach them a lesson. Many times, it ends up being both apologizing to one another. Arguing and getting angry is just part of a relationship and unavoidable. It is how you deal with it that sets it apart from a healthy relationship versus a bad one. Able to forgive mistakes. Early in our relationship I accidentally backed my car into my fiance's car while coming out of the driveway. I definitely did damage. I immediately started freaking out and crying and he just calmly got out of his car, came up to mine, and asked if I was okay. He got me to calm down and said it was fine, it was just an accident. He never made me feel bad about it. He called it a little bump to my friends to minimize my embarrassment. We laugh about it to this day. Side note, his dad who works with cars fixed his car for him at no cost. My ex would tease me a lot and would tease me in front of his family. He would say things like, "Oh, she changed her outfit 3 times because she thought you guys would judge her." Or she didn't really want to come over, but I convinced her. He would be laughing and joking, but these things would be the truth. When I was going to meet my current boyfriend's family I was really nervous. In the car I said, "Please don't tell them how nervous I am. It's so embarrassing." He looked at me in shock and said, "I'm on your side. Why would I tell them that?" And it was like a freaking light bulb. Love this guy. Genuine support in your life goals, even if that means you two will have to go long distance for a while, or will have to have conflicting work schedule, or it will make your relationship harder in some way. If they love you and want you to be happy, they will be genuinely interested in what you want to do and will try to support you to do that in whatever way they can. They won't hold you back in any way. This is something me and my SO have been facing something similar to this recently. He's just graduated and is looking for a job. as much as I want him to stay close by, so we don't have to do long distance for any more time than we have to. I'm going home for the summer. But if he gets a job the other side of the country, I won't stop him, and as long as I'm around I'll help him pack up. Your partner does things for you without asking and remembers little details. For example, I like eating with a fruit fork, the smaller version of the dinner fork. I actually googled that, since our family calls them the little forks lol. Anyway, my partner remembers this and will grab it for me when we're dishing up food. Another good one is they make you feel appreciated. You don't feel like they are playing games. Communication is direct, and you don't feel too nervous about what you should or shouldn't do or say, and you're not worried about what they do or don't do or say. Some butterflies is normal, of course. Edit. To clarify, my point here is it's possible to meet someone who, right from the beginning, you're not overly concerned about your interactions. You don't have to think too much about what to text them or when. Same with calls. They don't leave you wondering about when they will respond to you and what delaying means. They don't say or do cryptic things that you have to go home and call in a panel of friends to analyze. This is not to say that, in the beginning, you shouldn't take care to be on your better behavior and not to overshare. This is not game playing, it's being considerate. It's the small things. The doing something just because it will make your partner smile and expecting/wanting nothing in return. A few months ago I was having a bad day and had texted my partner about the basics, and he said to head over to his place after work. I showed up so defeated by the day, opened the door, and my dog is there. He had spoken with my parents, picked up my dog from their house because he knew that's what I needed. He was cooking dinner and told me to just go cuddle on the bed with my dog while he took care of everything else. That's when I knew he and I were in it for the long haul. These are all great, but here's one that matters more for the longer term. Being competent at life. I'm not saying being rich or having a fantastic job or anything. I mean someone who is able to set a goal and work towards achieving it. No matter what that is, it makes a huge difference in life. Someone who can do that is less likely to sabotage your marriage for selfish/immature reasons. Someone who can do that probably won't drag you down with credit card debt. They have impulse control, so they probably won't cheat on you or leave you for some stupid reason. That person is a keeper. The person makes time for you. Whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, people will always find a way to make time for those they care about. Let's say I'm super busy with my day. I can find 10 seconds to respond to your text. I have to eat a meal at some point, so even if I'm super pressed, I can invite you to have a meal with me at restaurant, at a fast food place, at someone's home. I can call you when I'm driving in my car. It baffles me when people say I was too busy. Too busy to what? You mean you couldn't spare 10 seconds from your day to try to nourish your relationship with the other person? We all know you were on your phone while pooping. You cold texted them